Starting in a seated position, place your hands by your hips, fingertips pointing towards your knees. Pressing down, lift your hips up and stretching across your collarbones, getting good stretch on your chest and your hips. Lower back down into a seated position and step back into a plank position. Shoulders above your wrists, you're going to spread your hands wider than your mat. You can lower your knees here if you would like, and then do a push-up in the center position. Shifting your weight over to the left, do a push-up over your left hand, then shifting back over to your right, do a push-up over your right hand. Lower your hips back into a child's pose, and walk both hands off to the right-hand side, stretching your entire side hip to shoulder. Hold this for a breath, come back to center, and we'll press back up into a plank position. This time bring your hands together, thumbs touching in the center of your mat. You can lower your knees if you would like and do push-ups here. Anywhere from 1 to 5 is recommended. At the end, press yourself back into child's pose and walk both arms over to the left-hand side, now getting a good stretch from your hip to shoulder on the opposite side. Holding for a breath, come back to center, placing your hands normal distance apart, about shoulders width. Bring yourself back into a plank position, lower your knees if you would like, do a push-up in the center, shift your weight over to the left, do a push-up, and then shifting it over to the right, do a push-up. Pressing down with your heels, you're going to lift your hips coming into a downward dog. Look between your hands, step forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Then inhale, come all the way up to standing, reaching out as far as you can. Exhale, clasp your knuckles behind your back, expanding across your chest, and then hinge forward, bringing your arms over your head. Nice little forward fold here, expanding your chest. Bring your hands down by your side, placing them onto the mat, and we could do the beginning of crow. If you'd like, you could place your elbow onto your knee and lift one leg, then the other, or try balancing both feet off of the ground, looking forward. When you're done, step back into plank position, lower yourself slowly all the way to the ground, and then place your elbows underneath your shoulders, coming into a half plank position. This will engage your core muscles and build strength throughout your entire body. Hold here, gazing off the front of your mat, remembering to breathe deep in through your nose and out through your nose. Lower yourself all the way down, lifting up now into a low cobra, just using your upper body, and lower yourself flat onto the mat. You're going to press yourself back into plank position, then moving up into a downward dog. Pressing down with your heels, then stepping forward, come back into a seated position as we started this sequence. As we start this sequence again, we'll press up with our hips, coming up onto our knees, getting a good stretch across the front of our chest. Lowering ourselves back down, step into a plank position, spread our arms wider than the mat, and we will do our push-ups. You can do between 1 and 5. Here we're going to lower onto our knees and do a centered one. Move our body over to the left, do a push-up, then move our body over to the right and do a push-up. We'll lower our hips back onto our heels, coming into the child's pose. This is a good time to get a little rest, breathe deep, and stretch all at the same movement. Take a nice deep breath, come back to center. Bring your hands close together, thumbs touching. You'll lift yourself up into the plank position. You could do your push-up from here or lower your knees for a slightly easier modification. Lowering through your push-ups, you want to make nice effort to have a strong core, and come back into child's pose when you've done the appropriate number, and walk your hands off to the left-hand side. Remember to breathe here, as always, in through your nose, out through your nose, nice and evenly. Placing your hands shoulder width apart, come back up into the plank position, lower yourself down, either knees or full push-up position, centered, left side, and then right side push-up. You're going to come up into downward dog this time, stretching out the back of your legs. And look forward, step forward, inhale, come halfway up, exhale, fold all the way forward, then inhale, come all the way up to standing, reaching as high as you can. Exhale, bring your hands down behind your back, clasping your knuckles, stretching across that chest. Inhale, then exhale, fold forward. Let the arms come up over your head, using the weight of your arms to stretch your shoulders. You can always bend your knees if you need to modify this. And placing your hands on the mat, you can try crow position again. You're going to really balance the weight of your entire body right above your elbows. You can either lift one leg or the other, or just keep your feet on the ground. When you're done, lower all the way down. Then come back and do a half plank, bringing your elbows underneath your shoulders. You will hold this as long as you can. Remember to breathe deeply throughout this and hold from 1 to 10 breaths as recommended. Gaze off the front of your mat. Finding a focus point does make it easier. When you're done, lower yourself down. Then lift your chest up, coming into a nice low cobra. And then exhale, lower back down. Move your hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself all the way up into a plank. Lift your hips into a downward facing dog. Looking back at your feet. Then coming forward into a seated pose. We can either start all over and do another sequence or finish here for today. Thank you.